Hey physics people, let's do vectors example number 2 for two-dimensional kinematics. A delivery truck travels 20 blocks north, 11 blocks east, and 16 blocks south. What is its final displacement from the origin? Assume the blocks are equal length. So just like the previous video, we're going to be looking for something called the resultant, the sum of all the displacements. Okay? The first thing we do is draw our Cartesian plane because we're dealing with north, east, south, and west. Okay, so this is going to be our north, east, south, and west. Of course, you can label them all if you'd like. Okay, so now let's go ahead and draw our vectors. We've got first 20 blocks north, and then we've got 11 blocks east, and then finally 16 blocks south. 20 is the largest, so let's draw that first. So there's our 20 blocks north. I'm going to call that D1 for displacement 1. Because we're dealing with blocks, I'm not going to write a unit, only because they're all consistent here. Okay. 11 blocks east is the next one. So I'm going to call that D2. 11 and D3 is 16 blocks south. Okay, so there we go. Our diagram is done, and we need to now state our mathematical statement, and that is that the resultant displacement is going to be the vector sum of D1, D2, and D3. Again, remember this is a vector sum with the arrows on top, so you're not just doing 20 plus 11 plus 16. We have to take into account the directions. So let's do that. Okay, so we've got 20 blocks north for D1. We've got 11 blocks east for D2, and we've got 16 blocks south for D3. Now, although these are all in different directions, something that you should know is that it's actually really convenient here. We've got a south and we've got a north. And the thing is, the positive south is equal to negative north and vice versa. Okay, so positive south equals negative north. If you go 4 blocks north, that's the same as saying I went negative 4 blocks south. Okay, so that allows us to make our next statement this. 20 north plus 11 east. Now instead of plus 16 south, this time we're going to add negative 16 north, or simply subtract 16 north. Okay? Because positive south is negative north, negative south is positive north. Okay? So now we've got two things that are in the same direction. We've got 20 north and you've got minus 16 north. 20 minus 16 is 4, so that leaves us with 20 north plus 11 east. Okay, and at this point it's going to be a lot easier to figure out the resultant. Okay, so let's actually go ahead and do that on another page and keep working down. So in order to find the resultant, we're trying to find the magnitude and the direction. So the first thing to find the magnitude, because this is dr, essentially what we're looking for is the absolute value. So you put the absolute value symbols on the sides, and what we're dealing with here is we've got 4 north and we've got 11 east. Okay. And if you remember from the previous video, when you add vectors, you add them tip to tail. So the first vector is 4 north, 11 east. So the tail of the second vector touches the tip of the first. And in order to find the resultant, I start from the tail of the first vector and I draw it to the tip of the second vector. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that in here. So that is my resultant displacement. And the angle, remember, is going to be that right there. Okay. This here is a 90 degree right in that corner. If you remember, theta is determined using the angle between what you're looking for, the resultant, and your first vector there. Okay. So in order to find this resultant, it's a Pythagorean theorem, right? So you have to do a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So therefore, the absolute value of dr is equal to the square root of 4 squared plus 11 squared. Okay, so 4 squared plus 11 squared is 137. So therefore, dr is equal to the square root of 137, which when you work it out, it's approximately 11.7 blocks. So that's our absolute value of the displacement. Okay. Now here's the thing. Remember, we're dealing with sig figs here. So if you go back to the original question, we've got 20 blocks here, we've got 16, and we've got 11. The lowest number of sig figs we have is 1. Remember, that 0 doesn't count as a sig fig. So we've got 1 sig fig here, we've got 2 here, and we've got 2 here. So our answer can only be as certain as the least certain measurement. Therefore, our answer must only have maximum 1 sig fig. 11.7 rounded down to 1 sig fig. Gives us 10 blocks. Okay, so dr is approximately 10 blocks. So we've got our magnitude, and now we need to determine our direction. Okay, so again, basing it off this little triangle we've drawn here, our direction is going to be based here, and we're going to use tangent once again. The tangent of the angle theta is opposite 11 over adjacent, which is 4. Okay. So let's do that here in red. Tan of theta is equal to 11 over 4. 11 over 4 is equal to 2.75. So theta is going to be the inverse tangent of 2.75. So theta is approximately 70 degrees. Okay, that already has 1 sig fig, so we're good to go. And now we have to just figure out our direction. Okay, so if that is 70 degrees, we have to, well, 90 degrees is the full angle. So if that's 70, we can quote our final direction and our final displacement to be the following. Therefore, dr is equal to 10 blocks, 20 degrees north of east. Now you might be wondering, where did she get the 20 from? Okay, so remember, if you see, this is what we had. We had a 4, we had an 11, and we had our resultant here. That was our theta, right? And we found theta to be 70 degrees. So essentially what you're doing here is, if this is your east direction, that's your north. What you've done essentially is you've started at east. Oh, let me move this up. This is what we have. We've got the triangle. You've got your triangle, you've got your hypotenuse, you've got your theta is 70. This is your east direction, this is your north. So essentially what you've done, if you start at east, you're going up this many degrees towards the north. And because this entire angle is 90 degrees, therefore this one here, that small one, must be 20, since here we've got our 70 degrees. Okay, so you can quote your answer in 2 different ways. You can say it's 10 blocks, 20 degrees north of east, or you can say east of north by 70 degrees. So we can say, or dr is equal to 10 blocks, 70 degrees east of north. So they both work. So make sure you understand both answers, and that is it. As long as you work with your diagrams and your geometry, you keep your angles straight, these problems are actually not too bad. Okay, so that's it for this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give that like button a click, subscribe to this channel so you can catch my next video, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching.